everyone, it's Stephanie,
It's Emily.
and today we are back with a horoscope series. This time we are focusing on Libra.
So Libras are usually born around this particular time of like fall. They definitely are like the beginners of like whatever the fall zodiac group cohort is, and a lot of what goes on with Libras is that they're very social, they're very dynamic, they're very aware of like who exactly is happy or whatnot, and they're overall like the forefront runners in terms of beauty as well as social groups. And so a lot of times, like, equally enough, like their symbol basically symbolizes them. They're very much like of the balance. So in a lot of ways, that the good side of everything is that like they're very able to like make sure that every situation ends up being pretty harmonious and well curated, but at the same time it can lead to a little bit of passive aggression on sometimes on their side when they can't get what they want. And sometimes it can also come off as a little bit of too much people pleasing.
For this particular horoscope, I had picked a book that we previously reviewed, The Heart to Be Sold by LLOYD-JONES. I purposely picked this one because I thought the main character was pretty much the definition of Libra. In a way, she was kind of thrust into the whole like, well, not particularly, she kind of knew already that she wanted to exchange her heart. I mean, more in-depth review and premise of the story will go into our book review, so go watch the video because I'm not going to like rehash everything again. But she kind of knew what she wanted when she went into this whole like exchanging her heart for something like for in her case money. And she was kind of thrust into this situation where there's a reason why the demon actually wanted her heart, and she was kind of forced into grouping with these like other people, like 3 other people, and battling these like monsters and whatnot. And I feel like she was kind of the definition of Libra, mainly because I thought she was very diplomatic, because in the beginning she was kind of just there, you know, like she actually wasn't welcomed by the other groups because they're like, well, you don't really need, like, we have 3 people, the group is usually 3, etc. But she was like trying to make sure that like, you know, everyone stayed focused, and like I feel like she did a good job in trying to connect the group together, because they actually, the 3 people, they had a lot of issues when they were working together. So she kind of brought the teamwork together. Not to mention, I feel like she also really cared about the arts. I mean, the guy that she had fallen in love with was basically a painter, artist. So like that was also kind of, you know, into that as well. So I don't know, I just feel like when she told me about these different characters, I was like, okay, I feel like this book kind of makes sense.
So my particular pick for Libra would actually be Looking for Alaska by John Green. John Green is very well known for a lot of his like YA romance novels, and something that I found really characteristic of his stories is that they're kind of overblown in terms of how much love the protagonist often gives like his object of affection. And I think that's something that I very much see as like a positive and negative side to Libras. I think that oftentimes they can idolize a little too much like love itself, for love's sake. And so like I feel like the book itself, Looking for Alaska, really emphasizes that message, because it's about this boy who goes to his first few years in the academy for high school, and he meets this girl who is, you know, very rebellious, very like spirited. Her name's Alaska, and he manages to become part of her friend group, and he has basically fallen head over heels for her without really even really knowing who she was. And then like that overall kind of concludes like the end of the story, where like he doesn't end up being with her because something happens. And so like I think, and then like how like he actually reacts to it, and how he's just like, oh, I thought Alaska was this way, etc., etc. And then someone tells him like, you didn't actually really know her like at all, ever. And I think that kind of like is it's kind of typical arc for a lot of YA guy related romance novels. But I think that also kind of spoke to me as to how much like Libras are ready to like love someone.
Yeah. Actually, I want to say, I forgot the main reason why I thought she was a Libra for my book is actually the fact that like she still clearly loves love, because like the whole purpose of the story was the fact that like her heart was given away, right? But yet she still found love, you know? So it's kind of like, I feel like that particular character, when you mentioned that, I was like, I forgot to mention this part.
Because like there's so many things, you know, like horoscopes obviously don't describe one particular person all at once, but that's the one big thing that I really noticed with Libras, is that they're so ready to love everything, and they're so desperate to like, not in a bad way, but like they're so like eager to like want to be in love, be in a relationship, and it's that urgency, that demand in them actually makes them fear it too. Like fear, they're like, because what you want is often what you fear the most too, because it's like a risk of failure. So like that often is like, I think, sort of the arc of conflict a lot with people in the zodiac. And so like when I was suggesting this book, I was like, this kind of makes sense to me, because it's like this idea that you think you really know someone and then you really don't, and how do you really deal with that, and like how do you like how do you still stay in love with someone even though you don't really know them, right? So, but Looking for Alaska obviously is more concentrated on the first portion of like how a relationship works, but that was still kind of the angle I was going for. It was definitely like that question of like love for love's sake.
Yeah. But so anyway, those are our picks for Libras. If you agree with us or don't agree with us, do let us know in the comments below. But
yeah, I would definitely say that. Please also let us know if like we've gotten better with explaining our thought process behind why we pick certain things for certain horoscopes. We also do have Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram presence, in which we always post bookish related content. We also are on iTunes and Google Play, and we have curated podcast listings of the topics that we talk about.
Yep, and that's it for today.
All right, thank you guys.
Bye.